Welcome to the first day of class in UGC-NET Paper 1. Um, we will be proceeding as discussed in the group. We will be proceeding in a very slow paced manner. You attend the class today. If there is any discrepancies in the pace or whatever thing, we can improve it in the upcoming classes. So, right now, we are going to focus on the teaching concepts, objectives, and levels of teaching today. So, as for the syllabus for UGC-NET Paper 1, this is the syllabus for Unit 1 alone. So, this is, excuse me, someone please unmute. Thank you. So, this is the whole syllabus that has been prescribed by the UGC-NET NTA for UGC-NET Paper 1. So among this, we will be going in a slow paced manner as we have put up in the tentative schedule. So let's move on to the topics. Before teaching, it is whatever we are teaching, in turn we are learning it also. ஸோ நம்ம வந்து ஒரு லேர்ன் பண்றோம், ஒரு ஒரு விஷயத்த சொல்லி கொடுக்கும் போது நம்மளுக்கு புதுசா வந்து லேர்னிங்கும் வந்து வருது. அப்ப ஃபர்ஸ்ட் லேர்னிங்னா என்னன்னு தெரியணும். We should understand what is learning first. So on that basis, the most common definition given to the learning can be said as change. Change is the only thing that doesn't change. Everybody would have heard of the proverb. So likewise, in a change, ஒரு மாற்றம் அப்படின்னு நீங்க சொல்றீங்கன்னா, what gives that மாற்றம்? நம்மளுக்கு வந்து எல்லாமே நம்ம ஏஜ் வைஸா ஏஜ் சேஞ்ச், our physical appearances change, our health changes, our education qualification changes, everything is changing. So when we talk about change or change management, we also go through one more thing, whether it is positive or negative. So if it is a positive change, we are growing, we are learning. If it is a negative change, there also we are learning, but most of us don't gain the main exact takeaway. The people who are gaining the exact takeaway from both negative and positive changes are learning and gaining experience. So what we call experience is the our learning knowledge. So this as it's noted, it involves every person's competence, ability, their own attitude. This comes from their kind of growth, what how they have learned. Because in our group, இப்போ நம்ம இருக்கிற குரூப்லயே வந்து 10 பேர் இருக்குன்னா 10 பேரோட brought-up லெவலும் டிஃப்ரெண்டா இருக்கும். So each person would have learned from the basics. So some might have learned from a government Tamil medium school or a regional language medium. Some might have learned from a better English medium school. Even some might have learned in the central institutes, something like that. So their comprehension and their way of understanding things is different, would be different. So as those things, they all contribute to the learner's competence, ability, understanding, and whatever it is going on. So likewise, one can say that learning comes from the by before birth itself. We can see people asking mother, pregnant mother to talk to the child. நம்ம வந்து குழந்தை வயித்துல உதைக்குது, நம்ம வந்து கதை சொல்றோம். இதுக்கு ரொம்ப ஓல்டு ஸ்டோரி வந்து பக்த பிரகலாதா, where he used to hear stories in his own mother's womb. So likewise, நம்ம இப்பவும் வந்து குழந்தைங்க கிட்ட பேசணும், குழந்தைங்க கிட்ட இது பண்ணும்போது அந்த மூவ்மெண்ட் நல்லா இருக்கும், குழந்தைங்களை பாசிட்டிவா வந்து இது பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சொல்றோம். இன்னைக்கு தேதியில அது நிறைய பேர் பண்றது இல்ல. மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் us are not doing exactly what it is required. But this mode of learning is can be termed as informal learning. Likewise, our formal learning is what we are, even this class can also be contributed as formal learning, because you are focused on learning something, you spend your own time and resources to learn what is to be gained. Likewise, our total lives is a combination of informal and formal learning. So, as learning comes, now teaching concepts comes. Teaching concept is that first you have to be a very good learner to teach something to a person. So, நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு விஷயம் தெரிஞ்சாதான் நம்மளால சொல்ல முடியும். அது at what level you have the knowledge of that certain concept is up to every own individual. We cannot comprehend, we cannot compare with all the persons. So likewise, once we are stable with certain topic, we can teach that topic to certain level. அப்படின்னும் போது, so our teaching should be catering to the needs of what is required in the society and our own environment. Because I don't know whether this example is good or not. Now our own national education policy, the three language implementation has been opposed by many states, also has been accepted by many states. There are varying dimensions of criticism regarding that. But what we cater, everyone say, now here I have to adapt to both Tamil and English. At the same time, I have to clearly that requirement is needed by this class and the members present here. Likewise, a teacher should focus on what is required by the society as well as the environment where the teacher and the student is living. Then only they can contribute to the society in a very good manner with the proper teaching. So as it is noted, teaching is not an act as it is dynamic in nature. Teaching is not a simple complete act. It is a ongoing process. Learning, since learning is an ongoing process, lifelong process, teaching is also a lifelong process, ongoing process. So our own social and human factors are being influenced by it. Whenever you search for a thing, as even I have worked in a college, the way I speak with or I spoke with the students, whenever I interact with them, my way of interaction is influenced by my own staffs from my UG and other schooling teachers. So that's what happens. A teacher should indirectly or directly influence. Earlier, we have so many influences among us. So our primary teaching concept should be, it should impart whatever social and human factors and encourage the children or the student to grow in a successful manner. So here it is a purposeful activity where we should monitor, we should guide, we should mentor, we should instruct and inspire everything in their own manner. We should not force, spoon feed or force them to accept our own ideologies. There might be disagreements with that, but we have to approach it in a very convenient manner. Then only we can get a very pleasant society and environment among us. So before we proceed with that, when I was searching through the internet, I came across such things. In Sanskrit, there are certain terms which define as a teacher. Actually, if you put a direct meaning in Google Translate, sometimes it will say it as everything would be comes under teacher. But each word is different from. So, Adhyapak is the person who imparts knowledge and information to you. Whoever gives you any information or inducing knowledge to you, that particular person can be called as Adhyapak to you. Similarly, Upadhyaya is the person, he imparts knowledge and information as well as he trains you to understand and comprehend what is the concept relevant to that certain thing what they are informed. Similarly, Acharya. So in நம்ம வந்து மகாபாரதம் இந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்துல நம்ம வந்து அந்த ட்ரெயின் பண்ண ஆச்சாரியார் வருகிறார் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் நம்ம கேள்விப்பட்டிருவோம். We would have heard there. They might also impart knowledge, but the main purpose of those people were imparting skills. Arjunanukku வந்து வில் வித்தை and other persons wall வித்தை and all, those things are the person who is imparting such skills is can be called as acharya. அப்ப நீங்க வந்து இப்ப இருக்கிற வந்து நம்ம ஜெனரேஷனுக்கு நம்மளோட ஸ்கில் செட் எப்படின்னு பார்க்கும்போது நம்ம லேர்ன் பண்ற சாஃப்ட்வேர்ஸ் ஆர் டிரைவிங், ஈவன் இப்ப எல்லாமே ஒரு ஸ்கில் செட். ஸோ ஒரு இப்ப ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ஸ்காலர்ஸ் எல்லாருமே எஸ்பிஎஸ்எஸ் கேள்விப்பட்டிருப்பீங்க. ஸோ எஸ்பிஎஸ்எஸ் லேர்னிங் இஸ் அ ஸ்கில் செட் and AMOS or whatever, even some learning technology in computer. Other than that, typewriting, shorthand, whatever we are gaining or learning it as a skill set, the person who trains us or imparts those skills to us can be called as acharya. Then pandit. See, pandit is a person who gives deep insight. இது சிம்பிளா நம்ம சொல்லணும்னா நம்ம we scholars எல்லாருமே பண்டிட் தான். ஏன்னா we go on in-depth meaning, search of the in-depth meaning of a particular topic we chose. ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் விஷயத்துல இதுல என்ன இருக்குன்னு நம்ம in-depth deep insight we are gaining. So a scholar can be called as pandit. Then comes the drishta. Drishta is a person who has a visionary view. அதாவது அவங்க வந்து நம்ம ரியல் லைஃப்ல இப்ப நம்ம நிறைய பேர் அப்படி மீட் பண்ணலாம். those were persons like இப்ப உதாரணத்துக்கு பாத்தீங்கன்னா கவர்மெண்ட் கிங் ஆர் குயின் whoever planned for நம்ம வெரி பெஸ்ட் எக்ஸாம்பிள் கல்லணை ராஜராஜ சோழன், சாரி கரிகால சோழன். தென் ராஜராஜ சோழன் comes for the temple. So Kallanai was built in the 2nd century. Now it is still standing without very significant damage. We are all gaining from one way or another way, we are all gaining from that. So the person who has a visionary view, there comes the difference. We cannot call at the moment Karigala Soran as a drishta because he didn't teach us those things, but he had a visionary view. So similarly, the person who has a visionary view and learns or make us to think in that similar manner, those person can be called as drishta. Guru is a person not only our own subject knowledge, he has to impart or invoke our thought process in such a way manner that we have to turanda nilai, like saints, we used to be mature enough to handle everything both in our own personal life and our very own external environment. Likewise, அப்ப நம்மளுக்கு வந்து அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு விஷயத்த நம்மளுக்கு வந்து ட்ரெயின் பண்றாங்க. இப்ப வந்து உங்களுக்கு பாத்தீங்கன்னா இந்த துறவிகள் இப்ப நிறைய ஆசிரமங்கள் இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு, அங்க போகும்போது ஒரு அவங்க வந்து நிறைய விஷயங்கள் எங்களுக்கு புரிய வைக்கிறாங்க, இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் இருக்கு. ஸோ தோஸ் பர்சன்ஸ் கேன் பி கால்ட் அஸ் குரு. அண்ட் இதுலயே நம்மளோட தமிழ் டேர்ம் வரும் ஆசிரியர். நம்ம தமிழ்ல சொல்றது வந்து ஆசிரியர். ஸோ ஆசிரியர் இஸ் a combination of two words. One is ஆசு, another one is இரியர். ஆசு means in a direct meaning குற்றம், crime or a mistake. So இரியர் means இரிதல். இரிதல் means you are neglecting or omitting or you are avoiding it. So crime neglecting or mistake omitting. So the person who is omitting or disposing our mistakes can be called as asiriyar. Asiriyar, that is a combination of two words. That's how the word came in proper usage in Tamil. So let's move on to the next thing. This one is a recently in the previous slide we have spoken about our own country heritage in Tamil and Sanskrit. These things are recorded according to the various foreign persons. அவங்க நிறைய பேர், there are so many persons had their own view or their own approach to the teaching concept. Here I have taken the important 6 persons view. First one is Raiban. Raiban's perspective is that the teaching should highlight social, moral and interactive nature. It should be a social thing because you cannot randomly teach something to the students. Likewise, it also should have a moral thing. And இப்ப நம்ம வந்து பேசும்போது இன்டராக்டிவ் செஷனா இருக்கும். ஜஸ்ட் லைக் தட் நான் பாட்டு ஒரே இதுவா பேசிட்டு இருந்தா அது இருக்கக்கூடாது. ஸோ ஹி அட்வொகேட்டட் ஃபார் தட் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சென்டர். நம்ம எல்லாமே எவ்ரி சிலபஸ் எவ்ரி திங் ஷுட் பி கேட்டட் அக்கார்டிங் டு த ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ஹூ இஸ் லேர்னிங். அண்ட் the teacher, no matter what his degree or whatever his designation, he has to act as a guide and facilitator for the students to learn that whatever his needs. Some might learn fastly, some might not learn as much as speed as the other one. So the teacher has to work in tandem with all the students, so that it is a combined effort. He has to bring up the students in a very good level. So the Ryburn's ideas have aligned with the modern constructive and experiential theories, because it provides importance to the engagement where the student should be involved. Like I said, we should act as guides and facilitators. So engagement and flexibility has been given to the students. Similarly, now from the UGC, our own UGC director has formulated. Now UGC is formulating so many in and out exit strategies for the students, where the student can join in any year and exit in any year. So as to without any inconvenience, they can continue the degree at any time. இப்ப அந்த மாதிரி விஷயத்துக்கு தோ நிறைய வந்து oppositions, because we are even if I'm as I'm saying we are, so I hope so everyone is included. We have come from a certain style of learning. In most, I don't know about Jatin, but I'm sure that we all studied in Tamil Nadu as a 10+2, that is 10th and +2, then 3 or 4 years course. We would have learned in a certain degree.
Same.
If we were to, yes,
Same
yes,
for me.
Jatin.
Same for me.
Yeah. Thank you. So
Same
if
for
we
me.
were,
Same for me.
yes. Thank you. So if we were to exit in middle of any degree, we would be revoking the degree, so as to, if we wish to continue the degree, we have to restart from the first year itself. But now UGC has suggested an exit strategy where a student can stop the learning, they can go for their own different things, then again they can, after some years or some months, they can come back and pick up the degree course from where they have left. Now the process is being tested in many higher education institutions. Likewise, it is growing. So when we analyze this, is in accordance with the Ryburn's view, because it should facilitate the students as student-centered approach. So Ryburn has stated that teaching is a relationship which keeps the child to develop all his skills. So when a student is neglected, that student won't grow up in a very good manner. நம்மளுக்கு தமிழ்ல வந்து பார்க்காத பயிர் பாழ் அப்படின்னு ஒரு தத்துவம் சொல்லுவாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி everything should be focused on the student. The teacher should focus on all the things, so that the student can develop all kinds of powers he has. Next one, Burton's view. So Burton's is somewhat similar to Ryburn, because his idea teaching aligns with the modern and experiential learning theories. What he also suggested that the our teaching should be focused on learner centered and various teaching methods. So here what he highlights is his focus was on developing independent thinkers, which we are not doing right now. I hope everyone agrees with me, because nowadays we are being focused on whatever going on. We are not students are not trained to think as independent thinkers, rather than they are trained as machines, like in movies 3 idiots or Nanban in Tamil, they suggested. I agree with that. I hope everyone agrees with me. If not, that's not a problem. So then he says that teaching is the stimulation, guidance, direction and encouragement for learning. So a teacher should stimulate something in the student. Then, based on that stimulation, he has to guide and provide direction for the student. Whenever there is any or somewhat draining of energy or not willingness, he has to encourage the student the in the process of learning. So that's what Burton's view. Next comes Smith's view. Smith's proposed his idea as a structured one. Previously, everything, both of them said that it should be learner centered, student centered. Here, he is also suggesting a student centered. Still, we have to have a structured format which should be interactive as well as scientific process, so that the total learning process can shape knowledge and whatever behavior and thinking abilities the student should have. So the systematic planning, we can say it as a lesson planning. Whenever we are going to, if everyone might have heard that we should have lesson plan, what we are going to do, how we are going to do. So this systematic planning can be formulated by the teaching person. Then he or she has to interact and whatever modification, because everyone won't be acceptable with a certain style of teaching or certain style of learning. So that behavioral modification should be made without affecting any kind of disturbances in their own psychology itself. So he said that teaching is a system of actions intended to induce learning. So not just providing notes or learn providing something in the classroom like a board and chalk method or PPTs or videos, not that alone, but everything should be a set of actions which should induce the student to learn. Like we are providing assignments in the class, and assignments, when I was in a college, we used to have one more training modification, something like that. So where we will pick a random topic irrelevant to our own degree. On that topic we have to form a report. Usually what we did was we actually copied from Wikipedia and pasted, but the true concept of that process was that we have to pick any new topic. It may be either related to our own degree or not, that won't be a problem, but we have to have a clear cut idea on what is that and how it is going. So in that way, when we get to learn about a new idea, and whatever is happening around us, we get a different perspective. That's what I had in my own UG degree and all. So this is what suggesting here. So it is a system of action that induce learning. Next comes J. Berners. Berners is highly influential in modern education because he is focusing on inquiry based learning. See, in learning, very different methods. We as a scholars, and the person, I suppose I can say everyone as scholars, because even the professors in this group also have previously they were the scholars. So where we form a question, in our own words, we form a hypothesis, research question. We tend to work in that. நம்ம அதை நோக்கி தான் வந்து எல்லாமே கொஸ்டின் பண்ணுவோம். வாட் எவர் இஸ் த கொஸ்டின் வேலிட், or the answer we are seeking is possible to get or impossible. So we focused on inquiry based learning methods. So here in this learning inquiry based learning method, he proposed a proper approach. Scaffolding means skeleton, even to minute detail. It is similar to teaching plan, but here it would be our own similar to our own research framework, where we are starting, where it is going, which hypothesis or whatever is influencing our own research framework. It is similar to that. There he suggested a scaffolding approach, then which should revolve or spiral around the curriculum, and it should also emphasis on discovery learning. We cannot say everything is, because as we scholars we know that we are solely depend mainly on review of literature. Why we are doing review of literature? Because we believe that whatever topic we chose, either directly or similar to that topic, already some or many research has been done. We need not to do that research again if we read that certain article or whatever knowledge we gain from that, so that we skip the part of redoing the project. We just obtain the result, and then we are applying that result to our own research. Likewise, we are discovery learning, we are doing it on discovery. நம்ம அதனால தான் பழைய ஓலைச்சுவடிகள் குறிப்புகள் வந்து இன்னைக்கு நம்ம வந்து தேவைன்னு சொல்லி நம்ம விரும்புறது அதான். Because if we have a certain written format or any documented format, it would be helpful for the successive upcoming generations, so that the society as well as the human life form can develop a very good lifestyle in their own. So here he is saying that teaching is the means of helping learners construct their own knowledge by engaging them in active learning experiences. நம்ம வந்து ரேண்டமா பாத்தீங்கன்னா இப்ப when I interact with some other universities or even NIT, IIM, IIT kind of institutions, their way of learning or their way of understanding is totally different from us or different from me. Why? Because in certain places they don't spoon feed or they don't follow a pattern for evaluation or testing. The student or candidate has to go through various processes in their own style, whichever the university or institution deems it's necessary. They will learn according to that. Once I had a friend who was from Singapore. There she used to have, she said that in case of examination, in schooling itself, in case of examination, they will just tell the from this page to that page, that's all. The question could be in any format. It could be from yeah, whatever in depth or whatever it is not presenting. So there the candidate student has to first assimilate the concept, understand the concept. He has to approach whatever the variability is possible. Then when the question is answered, we have to, or he or she have to use that knowledge in the active learning experience. So that's how it is happening. This is called practical knowledge. நம்ம ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா சொல்லணும்னா our own diploma versus engineering, because diploma is more practical nowadays. Engineering is not providing the necessary such practices in the colleges nowadays, whereas diploma students and ITI students are gaining more practical knowledge. Hence they are being placed or being wanted in the companies for a meager salary itself. So that's how it is going. Next, Gagnes. So Gagnes systematic approach to teaching and instructional design is right now being used in the e-learning and training process. He has suggested or he has provided a 9 events of instruction to form a structured teaching. Because again, one by one, each we have to follow a certain structure of learning with that. So once the learning process is structured, the instructions are structured, we can go in a very engaging and efficient manner, which can be obtained for the better outcome. Because no matter what, even including this one class, we want outcome. So what is the outcome? That depends on persons. A collective outcome might be there, but as well as individual outcome also might be there. So when you are engaging in this class, you are expecting certain outcomes to be happening in yourself as well as in the class itself. So that kind of outcome should be focused on this kind of approach. So he is saying that teaching is the systematic arrangement of external conditions to facilitate the internal learning process. It to be simply put in simple words. Now we are having, everyone is having laptop or phone. Excuse me. We are having laptop or phone, and we are having Google Meet. We are having internet. We are having PPTs. all the necessary requirement instruments we are using. These arrangements are all external conditions where we are gaining knowledge and we are learning to approach the exam in a better manner. That is internal learning process. If you don't have a now Abhigna said that she is in traveling mode, she doesn't have a charge in her mobile, so she is not attending the class today. So one simple arrangement is mismatched in her external condition. Charge is not there in her mobile, so she cannot attend the class today, and she cannot learn what is going on this class today. Likewise, so it is said that teaching is the systematic arrangement of external conditions to facilitate internal learning process. Next, Skinner's view. So Skinner is more of a psychologist. He approaches teaching based on the behavior. He wants everything and he provides importance for the feedback mainly. So we are all, even myself, would be expecting some feedback. Likewise, when we do something, ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா சொல்லணும்னா commonly expected feedback is that when a person is served food, the person who cooked the food expecting some kind of review from the person eating. நம்ம வந்து தட்டுல வந்து சாப்பாடு போட்ட உடனே கொஞ்சம் பேர் வந்து உடனே என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னா வந்து அவங்க வந்து இது பண்ணணும். எஸ் மிஸ் வசந்தி, is there anything?
I have one suggestion, sir.
Yes.
Hello, did you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
You're providing all the authors' view about the teaching process. Okay. Why don't
Yes.
you give this to all the authors' views in the tabular column? Because it is might useful for us to compare and read it. It may
Okay,
be
fine.
on tomorrow's
When
class.
yes. Thank you for the suggestion.
Oh, okay,
I will
thank you.
provide that in the when we are providing notes. We can compile in that. In PPT, we don't want to do that. In
Oh,
the next classes, upcoming classes, we will do that.
okay, thank you.
So he developed the theory of operant conditioning. So Skinner developed this thing which influences our own teaching and learning. Since time is going fast, so let me somewhat pick up the pace. So next, the main thing is objectives of teaching concept. So whenever teaching is happening, what are all the main objectives of teaching? So here are main, not this cannot be considered the only objectives. This can be considered as a main objectives for the teaching. So first one, desired change in pupils means our students. So when a student comes here, இப்போ நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லணும்னா இங்க நீங்க வரீங்க என்கிட்ட கிளாஸ், now you have joined here, you are starting the class here. My expectation, my desired change is that you should gain somewhat more mark than your previous exam in the upcoming or the next exam. So that is my desired change. Then to shape behavior and conduct, here we are talking about the common students. So shaping behavior their own, because some இன்னைக்கும் நம்ம கிளாஸஸ்ல பார்க்கலாம், some people are some students are not punctually coming to the class or not dressing properly. We require or we request a decorum in the classroom, so students are not following that. So it is a duty of the teacher or objective of the teacher, it should be the objective of the teacher to shape the behavior and conduct. Third only it comes of acquisition of knowledge. So the student should gain some knowledge. Then learning skills of students should be improved. So if the learning skills should be improved means they have to maintain certain we commonly follow the exam test method, that's all. We don't follow any practical knowledge or something. So that's why நம்மளுக்கு காமனா சொல்லணும்னா we can call doctors, lawyers, and even to some extent teachers also, but we are not openly calling teachers. Still teachers can be called as, these three are called as professionals. They are practicing, we are practicing medicine, we are practicing law. because every day both the law as well as written existing. Just a minute. So every day the existing conditions rapidly changing and evolving. So that's why they are called as practicing the doctorate, medicine, practicing law. Even we are practicing teaching. So that's how it's the improving the learning skills of students. Next, this is the very toughest thing: formation of belief. Here, first the teacher should be in clarity without any bias of his own belief. If the teacher is biased in any way, he would make the student into a very bad person in the environment. So the teacher has to be crystal clear, and his own conscience should be clear so that he can form the belief. Like I said, my UG teacher, he won't even scold anyone, and he used to call respectfully, not we will call வாடா போடான்னு கூட சொல்ல மாட்டார். He வாங்க போங்க அந்த ரெஸ்பெக்ட் இருக்கும். From him I learned that. Unless otherwise, I am somewhat in a hype manner. I won't call anyone in the class itself வாடா போடான்னு because that thing I learned from him. I believe that that should be the belief, respect should given to the students. So likewise the teacher should be providing beliefs to the students. Next, to provide a social and efficient member of the society. So now everyone including us are the members of the society. Whatever we are going to do or doing, we are one way or another way contributing to the society. Whatever everybody, I don't know whether I have heard of chaos theory, butterfly effect. In simple, I can I don't know, in Tamil வந்து நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா தசாவதாரம் and வில்லம்புன்னு ஒரு படம் இருக்கு. Actually that is the best film for that butterfly effect I have seen in a very simpler manner, because in English so many films are that. If you have time, you please do watch Villambu, because that film contributes that chaos theory as well as butterfly effect in a very good manner. How one person's small insignificant action influences another person in a very significant manner. That's how this is influencing. So we are responsible for the society. So as a teacher, we should be providing a social and efficient member of the society. Next, levels of teaching. So here teaching has three levels. The basic bottom level is memory level. It is least thoughtful. Why? Because we just need to memory, that's all. Then the second level is understanding level. Third level is reflective level. Understanding level is whatever the concept you are understanding. Now we are communicating in a certain language, hoping that everyone would understand what I am speaking as well as what you are communicating with me. So இப்ப அந்த அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வருதுன்னா, we first assimilate the language, we then assimilate the words, then we find the meanings in our own thought as a in our own mother tongue, then we combinedly form a certain understanding. These two are common. What about reflective level? So reflective level is that just because understanding something, we are not proceeding with anything, because some people might learn to cook. I understand how cooking works, but I won't cook very well in the short period itself unless otherwise with practices. So when I make a mistake, I should change my way of approach to anything where I made mistake. So that comes the reflective level. There your understanding and memory should be at high level. So we will go through one by one. So objective of memory level is simple. It is rote learning or memorization. நம்ம LKG kindergarten students where ABCD is continuously 1 2 3 4 5. Similarly, it will be going. Even my kid used to blabber something like that, where he is repeating whatever learned. So this is the very basic level of learning. Very here, since it is said as learning, it also applies to the teaching. The very basic level of learning and teaching is memory level of teaching, where memorization and rote learning is there. So we all know, or we all remember now, till now, ABCD, our own mother tongue, A, I, E, and that all, 1, 2, 3, even tables also we remember, because in the kids level we remembered, we wrote, learned that repeatedly, where we can't even forget that. We all those memories have become subconscious mind, where we are remembering even in our sleep. That is memorization level. So this should be first done for the kids. This is the basic level. So here Bloom's taxonomy. This is knowledge based objective. So we will be seeing Bloom's taxonomy in the upcoming classes. Here the memory level teaching covers the first level of knowledge based objective of Bloom's taxonomy, where the students can identify, recall, and memorize all those things, whatever. So KG students, A for apple, B for ball, likewise they remember. So that's how it is happening. So this lacks insight, because anybody can remember, or anybody can memorize if continuously trained. Again, I'm quoting that Three Idiots or a Nanban movie. It is well trained, not well learned. Similarly, I hope everyone saw the movie, so you get the gist of it. So here, the memory level is mainly based on Herbert theory of appreciation, where the learner, it states that the learner has to acquaint himself with the relationship between facts and principles. So a kid has to, if A appears in his mind, or someone says, then he has to relate that with the apple. A for apple. So this is the first stage of teaching, where we get the factual information, because A for apple is the fact. It does not change anything. 1 is the first number. A is the first number in the first alphabet in the language. Likewise, it is a fact, and it has to be related with the principle whatever being taught in the class. So this just provides the rote memory. Then good memory, you can see that this evaluation provides oral and written methods. So good memory includes our rapidity. As I said in the previous slides, it depends on the individual persons. Some have a very good memory and rapid learning, but still it can be trained. It cannot be omitted. So rapidity in learning, and whatever we have learned, we have to stably return. So a fun fact is that for a single second, our brain is capable of storing 30,000 different instructions. Again, I'm repeating, for a single second, our brain, human brain, is capable of storing 30,000 different instructions for every single second. So, but can everyone say we would be remembering such? Because we are not training our own memory in such a way. Some people remember very many things. Some people may not remember even what they had for lunch in the afternoon. So likewise, our lifestyle is varying and changing day by day. So we don't give enough practice for the memory, because we don't think that we need that kind of memory. Rote learning is required at the moment. So this is the first level of teaching. So once memory level is acquired, then only the person or the student can move on to the understanding level. Whatever fact we are, even in our own research also, I'm saying, when we are doing a research, first we have to remember the facts. What is what, which is which. Then after remembering the facts, we have to analyze those things, understand in our mind. So next comes the second understanding level. So for the merits, as we have discussed, it is only useful for the younger children, and children can learn a new concept. It is useful for slow learners. Disadvantages, where the third point you please note out, it is a dominance of teacher. The student cannot interact, or won't have much interaction with the teacher. the teacher will be dominating. As you know, in KG and all, they used to have stick and repeating whatever is going on in the class. So these are the disadvantages. I'm moving on to the next. Next, understanding level. So this is the middle level. It comes from memory level as well as reflective level. So it is a moderate level for thoughtful behavior. In order to understand something, you should have remembered or you should have memorized a certain thing in very many times so that you can gain a basic understanding. And again, I'm going to give you an example of food making, cooking. First, when you have certain vegetables, you should remember what the vegetable is tasting like, and then where it can be used, where it cannot be used. First, you have to remember that. Based on that remembrance, you can apply and make something new. That's how the same ingredient in a different format can be produced as pizza as well as fried rice as well as normal cooking any variety rice. So that's how it is different. So once you are memorized the characteristics of the vegetable, you are getting to understand and assimilate where it can be used, where it cannot be used, so that you are thinking there. Your thinking process starts there. You are comprehend and grasping what it is going to do that. So it requires higher mental process. Here the theories, these are the theories. Maurice L. said that the student seeks to analyze the acquaint the relationship between generalization and particulars. Like we saw in the previous level of teaching, principles and facts should be compared, and he has to understand where to use that facts, what he has gained that knowledge. So Herbart says that three types of uh, mental reality is happening. One is sense impressions, our own sense, our touching, our five senses. We are seeing something, speaking something, tasting something, everything. We are sense impressions. Through that, we are remembering something. Then images. We may not see whatever we learnt in our school in real life also. Some may not, some haven't saw the plane or a helicopter in their own life, but they still do remember that by seeing a picture. There is a this is helicopter, this is aeroplane, likewise. So images. Then elective elements of pleasure and pain. Here this is the most important for even in our age also, because நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு விஷயம் நம்ம பண்ணும்போது சைக்கிள் ஓட்டும் போது கீழே விழுந்தா முட்டியில் அடிபட்டா வலிக்குது. We are experiencing pain while learning to ride a bicycle. So that pain makes us to remember not to repeat a certain mistake in a same manner while riding a bicycle. Similarly, when we watch or eat a favorite food, example ice cream. If you take ice cream and eat it, when you instantly gain the pleasure of that taste, you become one way or another addicted to that taste. So you are again electively choosing that element of pleasure in the upcoming repetition times. So you will prefer for the same ice cream or prefer for the same shop where the certain type of ice cream is being provided. So that's how Herbert is suggesting, saying that sense impressions, images, and elective elements of pleasure and pain forms our own mental reality. So when these things change, our own perception of reality changes. So he is saying that a teacher should be conceived as an architect. So a teacher where A for apple, because uh, the same example A for apple itself, in small schools they used to just say A for apple, that's all. Somewhat mildly, some bigger schools they used to have a chart where A for apple, and again somewhat higher schools they would have either a live apple or a 3D model of the apple. The student learning from these three different schools would have very different approach in the upcoming learning criteria. So the teacher should, as much as possible, should provide all the necessary things to manipulate the students' ideas or to instigate the students' ideas so that they can think or formulate a thought in their own. So here Morrison is saying that it is not a mere generalization deduced from specific facts, but understanding. It's an insight of the whatever whatever the facts suggested. It is an insight, and then we have to adapt in the situation. Next, can be also said as mastery. We gain some mastery. So that's how he is proposing a teaching plan to gain an insight where it can complete within itself. So that no idea should be omitted or should not be given preference, extra preference. So the same thing continues. He is saying that memory plus insight. That's what. So in the understanding, we know that we are gaining whatever things we learned. That fact we are understanding and becomes our intellectual behavior. So I'm not going to go through the merits and advantages. You just see it is a effective learning, and then where, as I said, one is necessary for the other. So in order to move on to the reflective level of teaching, understanding is required. For reaching understanding, memory is required. So in indirectly, two stages are required for moving on to the reflective level of teaching. So it gives effective classroom interaction. Now, middle school students, 8th to 9th and all, we understand something, some core concepts will be taught in our school. We gain the knowledge. So here are the disadvantages. No individualized learning. Again, here also the individualized learning is not provided. So we don't get to learn, experience our own approach. Like we scholars are exposing our own topics, but students cannot move on like that. So this we are in the third level. School students are still in the second level only. Next is the last one, reflective level of teaching. So it is the highest level where the students not only question, they also question everything, just not the namesake. They used to repeat and reanalyze whatever is that possible. நம்ம சிம்பிளா அவர் ஓன் கான்செப்ட்ஸ் நம்ம லைஃப்ல மேரேஜ் மெத்தட்ஸ் எல்லாமே நம்ம கொஸ்டின் பண்றோம் இன்னைக்கு. We are questioning every our own approach where why should I not eat in left? Why should I ride a bicycle in a certain way? We are questioning everything, right from the small things to higher things. Wherever it is easy and viable, we are changing. If it is not viable and easy, we are deeply questioning and began to search for the answers for the reason why it is being like that. So this is the highest level of teaching, where a reflective level of teaching it can be said that. So the main objective is that first, the learner should develop insight to solve problems. We are scholars. We picked up a topic where we are gaining insight, and for that, based on that insight, we are solving our research problems. Next, rational and critical thinking in the students. We scholars have certain, we do not have any bias. As I said, teacher should not have any bias, as well as we scholars do not have should not have any bias while conducting our own research. It should be rational as well as critical. Next, the ability of independent thinking. Each in our group, totally almost 15 members are there. Each 15 members, considering each one is a scholar, each of the topic taken for research by the independent scholar is different. So we do have 15 different topics. So we have independent thinking in the topics. We have the decision making authority in that topic. Whatever we are going to move, whether it is positive or not, we do report it in the thesis and we are submitting our thesis. That's how our kind of learning is that. So we are obviously in the reflective level of learning as well as teaching. So these are somewhat repeating. So this can be said as open and independent. Classroom cannot be closed, in that our own learning should not be in a closed environment. We have to be self-motivated and we have to curiously ask whatever questions arise in mind. We have to research that. We have to propose a hypothesis. We have to question everything. Then we have to test the hypothesis. Then we come to the conclusion. Previously, those two methods could be said as learner or student centric approach. But here it is a problem centric approach. We are selecting a problem. We are going to analyze that problem. So we are approaching that problem in some sort of research. So here the aim here is to the students has to develop their own reasoning and logical capabilities where they can successfully make their own decisions in their own life as well as career life, because even today I am seeing so many students are not capable of deciding what elective subject they want to choose in the class. They are still struggling and questioning their own mind. They are not capable of choosing what is required, what they are interested. So likewise it is happening. So this should be avoided. So reflective level of teaching should omit those things. Here the student pupil occupies the primary place. Like we scholars are the primary in our research. Our teacher guide would be whenever required we seek guidance, he would provide, but he won't directly involve in our own research. So he occupies the secondary place. This uh, in this reflective level of teaching, how it is evaluated means, we are here it is given as essay type, but we can say it as our thesis report. Our own attitude, belief and involvement would be calculated, because in so many vivas, PhD vivas, I heard so many staff saying that it is not whether the thesis is good or not, it is how you are defending your thesis, how strong you are defending your thesis. That comes only when you fully thoroughly full involvement involvementoட செஞ்சா, we did the research with full involvement and our own attitude and belief in that, then only we can defend the thesis in a very strong manner. So this applies to that also. So these are the merits. So as I said, it's learner centered approach. And also please note that this approach is also used for gifted children. So gifted children is that வெரி ரொம்ப அதிகமா அறிவு ஆற்றல் உள்ளவங்க, அவங்க வந்து ஹைப்பர் ஆக்டிவா எல்லாத்தையுமே கால்குலேட் பண்ணுவாங்க. அகைன் ஐ எம் திங்கிங் ஆஃப் film Gifted. There is a film called Gifted where a 6-year girl child can solve advanced mathematical problems in 6 year itself. So she would be so advanced that even the KG students, her own age group people cannot comprehend to compare with her. So this method is used for gifted children. It also provides maximum flexibility and helps in development of creativity. Negative is that, demerits is that lower class students cannot be taught by this method. It's a time consuming process and it is also not applicable for dull students. So this could be said that if the teacher is willing to do that, there are certain excess burden or pressure workload imparted on the teacher. So these are the three types of learning. So here are some of the references where I have collected the notes. So that's all. Any questions? Any questions? Excuse me. Hello.